Lucy struggled in her dream, large beads of sweat rolling down her face. She was having that nightmare again. No! No? With a loud thud, she rolled out of bed and woke up completely. Through her bleary eyes, she saw Ethan glaring at her angrily. She didn't know what she had done wrong, yet he had kicked her out of bed so rudely. Still, she respectfully leaned against the bedside table to steady herself, watching the man's emotions. His sharp, handsome features, thick eyebrows, and starry eyes, along with his perfect figure, made him look like a gift from the heavens. However, behind that perfect exterior lay an extremely irritable nature. She glanced at her phone and said respectfully, "Mr. Black, it's 6:30. The regional summary meeting is at 8:00 a.m. You should get ready. Get out!" His roar displayed his fury. Lucy didn't know what she had done wrong again to completely infuriate this tyrant. She could only get up, put on her clothes, and leave the room quickly. Staying any longer would only bring a storm upon her. However, before she could leave the room, a cold voice came from behind her. "Who was your rain brother?" Lucy stopped stiffly, turning around like a robot with sweat rolling down her face again. "What are you talking about?" "Nothing. Just leave." Ethan didn't say any more, turning around to cover himself with a blanket and continue sleeping. Lucy snapped out of her dream, left the room, prepared her breakfast, arranged for a top chef to make his breakfast, and hurriedly left the villa. At night, sweet nothings filled her ears, but in the morning, he would turn into that irritable person. Lucy strongly suspected that this man, with the face of an angel and the body of a devil, had a split personality. Night and day were two entirely different people. At night, she was his private property. By day, she was the highly respected chief secretary to the CEO. However, misfortune never comes alone. On her way to the company, she got into a rear-end collision. The other car was a barely $1,000 old minivan. She looked at her damaged rear bumper, feeling the pain. Looking at the man in front of her, who was bowing and apologizing repeatedly, almost crying and begging for mercy for 20 minutes, she softened her heart and let them go. She called the insurance company, and after finishing everything, she realized something very serious. Damn it! The meeting. She left her car with the insurance company and rushed to the office. By the time she arrived at the meeting room, the meeting had already been halfway through. Looking at the people bowing their heads, some with sympathetic faces and others with schadenfreude, they all seemed to expect the big demon to explode. "Secretary Lucy, the 8:00 meeting, and you show up at 9:00. Have you lost your basic sense of time?" "Sorry, Mr. Black. I was in a car accident on my way." "Looking at your intact state, it doesn't seem like a car accident. If you're going to make excuses, at least make them believable." "I'd sooner believe you overslept." "Didn't you know if I overslept this morning?" Lucy wanted to explode, but in front of so many executives, she couldn't say those words and had to endure his scolding. "Get out. Prepare the materials for the next meeting. If you're late again, don't bother coming back." Lucy angrily left the meeting room, feeling more aggrieved by her morning misfortune. At this moment, the insurance company called. "Ms. Lucy, the repair cost for Mr. Black's car exceeds our coverage. Our insurance can only cover $5,000 for the bumper repair. You'll need to pay the remaining amount. Should we inform Mr. Black?" This GTR worth millions was the cheapest car under Ethan Black's name, initially given to her as a reward, but still under his name. Having just faced Ethan's wrath, Lucy didn't want to become a target again over such a small matter. "How much is the repair cost?" $10,000. You need to pay $5,000. What? I still need to pay $5,000? What kind of bumper is that expensive? It's not just the bumper. Many other parts, including the rear hatch, need to be replaced. Should we still inform Mr. Black? Forget it. I'll transfer the $5,000 to the repair shop. You tell them to fix it. Lucy gritted her teeth, regretting her morning kindness in letting the culprit go. $5,000 was several months of her salary. Just after transferring the money, Ethan's urgent messages came through again. Where are the materials? Did you leave your brain at home today? It's been so long, and you haven't brought me the documents yet. Did you forget to bring your brain when you left this morning? Lucy looked up, seeing people leaving the meeting room. The meeting had just ended. She hurriedly packed up the materials, double-checking to make sure nothing was missing, and rushed to the CEO's office. Entering the office, Ethan flipped through the documents and slammed them onto the desk. Did you even check the materials? You didn't notice this decimal point error? You expect me to use this to conduct the meeting? Are those eyes above your nose just for show? Do you believe I'll dock your bonus? His angry curses were audible even outside the door. Having just lost $5,000, Lucy felt more wronged. However, she still had to face his inexplicable anger. Thinking about that message, this damn man was being so mean to her because he was planning to move on to someone else. Driven by an unknown impulse, she slammed her badge onto the desk. Dock it? Dock it all. If you have the guts, dock every penny. I'm fed up with you, you tyrant. I quit. With that, she turned around and left, slamming the office door hard. Those outside watching the commotion were scared to death, fearing the tyrant would come out and vent his anger on them. Strangely, instead of the usual smashing and shouting, Ethan remained unusually silent. Lucy ran out of the company, tears streaming down her face. She didn't know if it was because of the numerous misfortunes today or the accumulation of grievances over the years. 5 years. She had endured Ethan Black's abuse for 5 years. She had had enough. She wandered aimlessly on the street. To make matters worse, the clear sky suddenly turned overcast, and within seconds, a downpour started. She was drenched. The nearby buildings were all public offices, leaving her nowhere to take shelter. She could only keep running, looking for a place to hide from the rain. At that moment, a car sped by, splashing dirty water all over her. Ah! Lucy was about to explode with anger. She finally found a pavilion and ran inside. Her phone rang. It was a message from Ethan Black. Reading the content made her so angry that she wanted to smash her phone. Lucy, if you don't come back now, don't ever think about stepping into Black Corporation again. Get as far away as you can.
Reading Ethan's message made Lucy's blood boil.
Initially, she only threatened to quit in a fit of anger, without truly intending to resign. After all, despite Ethan Black's deplorable character, his compensation was generous. Soaked from the rain, her fury reached its peak. She blocked him. The moment she did, she felt an immense relief. Lucy waited for the rain to stop in the pavilion for an hour. Sneezing, she decided to take a cab back to her tiny apartment. At home, she took a shower, changed into dry clothes, but still felt lightheaded. She took some cold medicine, grumbling to herself. Ever since I met that jinx, nothing good has happened. Lucy sipped warm water and checked her bank account balance $2 million. It seemed she could live comfortably for several years, even without the tyrant. For all his faults, Ethan Black hadn't entirely mistreated her financially. Wrapped in her blanket, Lucy slept deeply. When she woke up, It was already dark. Turning on the light, she saw Ethan sitting silently by her bed like a ghost. Ah, she screamed in fright. Ethan quickly covered her mouth, frowning. Shut up. What are you screaming for? Lucy pushed his hand away. What are you doing here? This is my apartment, not yours. And why are you sitting here in the dark? Are you crazy? Instead of getting angry, Ethan lay down beside her. I'm hungry. Go make me something to eat. Still that commanding tone. Why should I cook for you? I quit, remember? I'm not your secretary anymore. Hurry up and stop whining. His roaring tone made Lucy shrink back. Against her better judgment, she swallowed all her retorts and obediently went to the kitchen. Feeling lightheaded and coughing frequently, it was clear she had caught a cold. Despite her condition, that man had no concept of sympathy and expected a sick person to cook for him. When she finished, Ethan started eating with the elegance of a king until he spat out the first bite. Did you mix up salt and sugar? Are you trying to kill me? He threw all the dishes into the trash, grumbling incessantly. Useless at everything, can't even make a decent meal. Late for meetings, preparing flawed reports, now this? How did you even grow up, being such an idiot? Lucy's head felt heavy, and his nagging felt like bombs exploding in her brain. Watching her painstakingly prepared food being tossed away, all her suppressed anger surged out. So what if I'm useless at everything? And what about you? You're selfish, violent, petty, hypocritical, and so nitpicky. What woman could ever stand you? No, not just women. No one could stand such a disgusting man. The outburst left her feeling refreshed. She had never felt so liberated in the past 5 years of cautious living. Fearing Ethan's retaliation for a moment, she quickly dismissed the thought. She had already quit. What was there to fear? With a dramatic turn, she marched back to her bedroom. Lucy lay in bed, her throat painfully dry. She wanted water but felt too weak to get up. She considered asking Ethan but decided against it. Remembering her recent tirade, in her daze, she fell asleep again. After a while, Ethan stormed into the bedroom, intending to scold her back. But seeing her fever-flushed face, he realized something was wrong. He touched her forehead. You're burning up. Served you right for running around in the rain, you idiot. Just die out there for all I care. With that, he left the room. Lucy, half awake, heard his harsh words and tears stream down her face. She was used to such words, but today they cut deeper, amplifying her sense of injustice. She had originally stayed with him for money. If she couldn't get love, money should at least compensate.
But what had she gained?
After 5 years of being his live-in maid, he remained perpetually aloof, always spouting harsh words. At one point, she had fantasized about becoming Mrs. Black. It was time to wake up from that dream. The Cinderella magic had worn off, and she needed to exit the stage. Struggling to her feet, she left, without saying a word. When Ethan returned with fever medicine, he found the apartment empty. Enraged, he crushed the medicine box and tossed it into the trash. Run, always running. Just die already. With that, he left her apartment and returned to his villa. Lucy wandered outside, catching cold.
Air that made her feel somewhat better.
Returning to her apartment, she forced herself to find fever medicine, took it, and fell asleep. She dreamt of a sage who told her how to avoid bad luck, break up with Ethan Black, stop being a clinging vine, and become her bravest self. Waking up, Lucy pondered her dream and calculated her tenure at the company 5 years. Her contract was up. It was time to wake up. She wrote a resignation letter to Ethan, sent it by email.
I went back to sleep.
Lucy slept for an entire day, her phone turned off. When she woke up again, she felt rejuvenated. The fever was gone, and she felt hungry. She decided the dream was spot on. Leaving Ethan was a beautiful beginning. She turned on her computer and began updating her resume, contemplating where to apply next. Just then, a new email arrived. Opening it, she became furious, quickly changing and storming to the office. She barged into the CEO's office without knocking. "Mr. Black, this is extortion." Before she could finish, she saw the room was full of people. She swallowed her words. Ethan didn't even look up, but the smirk on his lips infuriated her. He seemed like a Buddha, and she a monkey king unable to escape his grasp. Everyone out. The directors left, leaving them alone. With no one around, Lucy suppressed her anger. "Mr. Black, according to our initial contract, the 5 years are up. Why are you not letting me resign and demanding $5 million in penalty? Did you check the attachment? There's an addendum with your signature." Ethan looked like a cunning old fox. Lucy glanced at the contract Ethan had mentioned. She hadn't noticed it before, but there it was with her signature. She couldn't remember signing it, but the signature was undeniably hers. The contract stated that upon expiration after 5 years, it would automatically renew for another year unless a written application was submitted. So, despite the term ending, because she hadn't submitted a written application, it had automatically extended for another year. If she wanted to resign now, she'd have to pay a penalty of $5 million. "If you apologize now for your absences these past few days, I can overlook." "I choose a transfer," Lucy interrupted him. She couldn't bear maintaining the same inappropriate relationship with him any longer. Ethan's good mood vanished. "The position will be decided by me, and you won't have any choice in it." "Are you sure?" "Yes, as long as it's not as your secretary. I don't care where I go." Lucy knew she might be seen as ungrateful, but remembering that message steeled her resolve. Ethan's dark eyes narrowed, remembering the man she always murmured about in her sleep. "Fine, you'll go to the real estate branch as a property sales agent until your contract expires." Selling houses was a particularly unpromising job in a market where prices were steadily declining. She might struggle for a week without selling even one unit. Earning her previous salary as his secretary seemed as difficult as climbing to the heavens. Lucy braced herself against the desk. "Fine, I accept." Ethan's eyes filled with a stormy anger as he pressed the intercom. "Prepare a new contract for Lucy and escort her to her new position now." By the time Lucy had completed the paperwork and arrived at the sales office, it was already 3 p.m. The sales office manager, seeing the famous Lucy arrive, thought she was sent by Ethan for inspection and treated her with extreme deference. After 3 days of this treatment and no unusual findings, he realized that the once renowned chief secretary had been demoted. Manager Yang cautiously approached her. "Lucy, when will Mr. Black come to inspect us?" Lucy, engrossed in studying the property details and strategizing how to sell a unit, replied, "I never said Mr. Black was coming for an inspection." Manager Yang was nearly driven mad with frustration. "You've had no sales in 3 days. If you don't make a sale within a week, you'll be terminated." Lucy's eyes lit up. She closed the property brochure, Termination? Great. Why wait a week? You can terminate me now? Yang was baffled, about to retort when someone rushed in to report. The chairman's wife is here, Mr. Yang. Hurry to greet her. Yang quickly ran out to welcome Ethan's mother, the current chairman's wife. Hearing the name, Lucy clenched her phone. The message was still there. She hadn't deleted it. Everyone in the sales office went out to greet her, hoping to gain her favor, except Lucy. Unexpectedly, the chairman's wife sought her out directly. Surrounded by a crowd, Mrs. Black approached Lucy. Seeing her face, Lucy gripped her phone tightly, her lips pressed together, saying nothing. Yang, taking advantage of his position, pointed at her face. Can't you see the chairman's wife? How dare you sit there? Lucy narrowed her eyes, standing up slowly. Mrs. Black, arms crossed, looked at her condescendingly. Is this how you talk to the former chief secretary? Aren't you afraid my son will fire you? Yang immediately groveled. Yes, Mom, you're right. Everyone, leave. I need to speak with her alone. At her command, Yang and the others left, thoughtfully closing the door behind them. Once alone, Mrs. Black said, you just can't let go of Black Corporation, can you? Hasn't my son's rewards been enough? As you can see, I've distanced myself from Mr. Black and came to this out-of-the-way place. Isn't that enough for you? Why did you have to send me that message, forcing me to leave? She took out her phone, displaying the text message. Leave my son alone. He is getting engaged. You will never be his bride. Don't humiliate yourself. Otherwise, I will make sure your mother disappears from Ning City. Mrs. Black remained unfazed. You're worlds apart from our family. You're just dirt. Even after 5 years of being his bedmate, did you dream of becoming legitimate? Someone like you will never be worthy. Lucy replied calmly. I know I'm not worthy. I've already broken up with Mr. Black. I won't appear in front of him again. If you dare harm my family, we'll both suffer. Mrs. Black smiled, patting Lucy's face. We'll see about that. Next week is Ethan's engagement party. If you dare cause trouble, I won't be there. You can rest assured. Mrs. Black left, and Lucy collapsed into her chair, her hands sweaty and clutching her chest. Although she'd heard of his engagement, hearing it confirmed still broke her heart. Worlds apart. She was right. No matter how hard she tried or how good she was, she would never be worthy of the Black name. She could only watch him marry and have children with someone else. At that moment, a young woman, Jane Yang, entered with a pure, harmless face. Are you okay? I overheard Mrs. Black and Manager Yang talking. She told him not to take care of you. How did you end up selling houses here? Lucy didn't know if Jane was a friend or foe. Remembering her $3 million shortfall, she realized she'd have to sell many houses to quit sooner. Why haven't I made a single sale in 3 days? Others seem to manage at least some. What's my problem? Jane stuck out her tongue. My sales aren't great either. But those who do well, you don't need to emulate. Just let it happen naturally. Who does well? The sales champion, Ruby Lee? Does she have any secrets? Lucy had seen the sales leaderboard. Ruby consistently outperformed the second best by double, always taking first place. Jane pouted. Follow her when she brings a client? You'll see her secret. Yang Feng pulled Lu Yixue aside and cleared his throat twice. Lu, don't think I haven't been looking out for you? It's been a week and you haven't closed a single deal. That's not acceptable. Considering you used to be such a high-ranking executive secretary, Now struggling even with the simple task of selling a house? Lu Yixue knew he wasn't going to say anything pleasant. Manager Yang, just say what you have to say. Here's the deal. I have a major client to recommend to you. This person is loaded. If you can land him not just one deal, even 10 wouldn't be a problem. When you make it big, don't forget who helped you up. Thank you, Manager Yang. Who are you introducing me to? Yang Feng handed her a business card. Work hard. You might lose your top sales spot this month. Lu Yixue took the business card and saw the name, P. Yaz, president of Pei Group. P Group and Fu Group were arch rivals, and as Fu Yuding's secretary, Lu Yixue couldn't possibly be unaware. What's this? Is Lu scared off already? Let me tell you, I haven't even given Ling Yu a shot at this exclusive client. Isn't that enough care for you? If you find it too tough, maybe you should go to Ling Yu instead. He even resorted to provocation. Fine, thanks for the opportunity, Manager Yang. Lu Yix pocketed the business card and turned to leave. Ling Yu trotted over, swaying her hips, and leaned against Yang Feng. Manager Yang, why didn't you introduce me to such a good client and gave it to that newcomer instead? Isn't that favoritism? Am I still your favorite little darling? Yang Feng pinched her waist. You know who I introduced, and you're getting worked up? Ling Yu's eyes lit up. Who? P. Yazi from P Group, Yang Feng whispered into her ear. Ling Yu immediately brightened. That P is so difficult to handle. Everyone in our sales department, including me, has been brushed off by him. Lu Yixue, who doesn't even know how to close a deal, how could she possibly handle his business? The chairwoman specifically instructed not to favor her, so naturally, I have to give the best clients to her. If she can't close the deal later, I won't be blamed. Facing P, Lu Yix probably has more than just the inability to close deals to worry about. P is notorious for being tough. Lu Yixue is definitely going to make a big mistake dealing with him. Their conversation was overheard by Yang Jingjing nearby. She searched everywhere for Lu Yix but couldn't find her, so she hurriedly called her in a corner. The phone was quickly answered. Lu, where are you? I'm out on an assignment, visiting Mr. P. I'm already on my way there. What's wrong? Come back quickly. Don't go, don't go. Yang Jingjing looked around, making sure Yang Feng and Ling Yu didn't eavesdrop. What's wrong? What happened? Manager Yang recommended this deal to you not to help you. We all know Mr. P's character. He's difficult and ruthless. Ling Yu tried to get close to him before, and he found it dirty and kicked her away. Manager Yang sending you over is just to make things difficult for you. Don't fall for it. Lu Yix gave a cold snort. Did you think I didn't know what he was up to? She knew what Yang Feng was plotting from the moment she received the business card. Then why did you agree? Yang Jingjing was puzzled. If it were someone else, I might not be familiar, but with Mr. P, back when I was with Mr. Fu, I had quite a few dealings. Maybe I can achieve things that you all can't. A faint smile curled up at the corner of Lu Yixue's lips. Thank you for caring about me. Since I arrived here, they've all been hypocritical towards me, but you've always been willing to help me. I won't forget your help. The reason she didn't close a deal this past week was mainly to familiarize herself with the various procedures. With P. Yaz's business starting now, she would have to show her true capabilities. Did Fu Ying think he could stump her by throwing her into this? Daydreaming. Lu Yix drove to the Whisper Bar. Despite it being daytime, it was bustling. Several resident celebrities performed here, making it lively around the clock. Piyasi would be here every Saturday and Sunday afternoon to evening, usually staying until 9 or 10 at night. Many people wanted to discuss business with him, so he rarely went to the company, spending all his time here. The Whisper Bar had a private room specially set up for him. Besides him, no one else had the qualifications to enter. Many people were eager to get in, but Pia's selection of who to meet was very casual. No one knew what his criteria for selection were. Before going to the bar, Lu Yixue went somewhere first, then made her way there. Upon entering, the lights were bright and the singer was in high spirits. Everyone was dancing and enjoying themselves. Lu Yixue bypassed the crowd and arrived at Piyasi's private room. Several business representatives were at the door, pleading with the assistant. Some were offering gifts or money, all trying to curry favor, but the assistant didn't even glance at them, rejecting them all. Lu Yixue handed a pen and a brief letter to the assistant. "I'm Lu Yixue. Please let Mr. P know that I'd like to see him." The assistant naturally knew Lu Yixue's name, glanced at the letter and the pen, and surprisingly didn't refuse. Holding these items, the assistant entered the private room. Soon, the assistant came out. "Secretary Lu, Mr. P said he wants to see you. Please come with me." Everyone was curious why Lu Yixue's pen was so special. They had sent many expensive gifts, much more valuable than that pen. How come they couldn't get a meeting with Piyasi? Lu Yixue had no intention of explaining to them. She entered the private room. Inside the room, Piyasi was accompanied by 2 men and 3 women, all singing and creating a lively atmosphere. A man and a woman were passionately singing Little Dimples. Lu Yixue, in a business suit, seemed conspicuously out of place in this setting. Piyasi raised his hand slightly, and the 2 singers stopped singing, waiting for his instructions. "Everyone, please leave." The 2 men and 3 women exited the room one after another. Piyasi pushed the microphone forward. "Secretary Lu, glad to have you here. How about singing a song with me to liven things up?" Lu Yixue sat down not far from him. "My singing is terrible. Are you sure you want to hear me sing?" Piyasi pushed the microphone towards her. "I'm all ears." A mischievous idea flashed through Lu Yixue's mind. She chose a song from 10 years ago. At the beginning, she deliberately sang off-key with not a single note in tune. Piyasi felt like needles were pricking his ears. However, since he asked her to sing, he couldn't interrupt. He tried to lift his hand several times, but finally couldn't bear it and stopped her singing. At this point, Lu Yixue sang properly. Every word was melodious and surprising to Piyasi. Yang Feng called Lucy aside and coughed lightly. "Sister Lu, don't say I didn't take care of you. You've been here for a week and haven't closed a single deal. That's not acceptable, considering you used to be the high and mighty secretary to the CEO. Now you can't even sell a house. Something so simple?" Lucy knew he had no good intentions. "Manager Yang, if you have something to say, just say it. Here's the deal. I have a big client to recommend to you. This person has plenty of money. If you can secure him, not just 1 deal, even 10 deals wouldn't be a problem. When you become successful, don't forget who helped you." "Thank you, Manager Yang. Who is it?" Yang Feng handed her a business card. "Work hard. The sales champion for this month might change." Lucy took the card. "P Yaz, CEO of the P Group?" The P Group and the Fu Group are arch rivals. As Fu Yuting's secretary, she couldn't be unaware. "What? Are you scared off, Sister Lu? Let me tell you, this exclusive big client, I didn't even give him to Ling Yu. Am I taking good care of you or not? If you think it's too difficult, should I just give it to Lingyu? He even used reverse psychology. Fine. Thank you for taking care of me, Manager Yang. Lucy put away the business card and walked away. Lai Lingyu walked over, swaying her hips, and leaned against Yang Feng. Manager Yang, such a good client, you didn't introduce to me, but to that newcomer? Isn't that too biased? Am I still your favorite little darling? Yang Feng pinched her waist. Do you know who I introduced? And you come here acting all flirty? Lai Lingyu's eyes sparkled. Who? CEOP of the P Group. Yang Feng whispered in her ear. Li Lingyu's eyes lit up. That CEOP is so difficult to deal with. All of us in the sales office, including me, have been brushed off by him. Lucy, who can't even close a deal, how can she manage to secure him? The chairman's wife specifically instructed me not to give her any special treatment. Naturally, I have to give her the best clients. If she can't close the deal, it won't be my fault. Facing CEOP, she might not only fail to close the deal. CEOP is notoriously difficult. Lucy will surely fall hard dealing with him. Their conversation was overheard by Yang Jingjing nearby. She looked everywhere for Lucy, not finding her, and hurried to a corner to call her. The call was quickly connected. Sister Lu, where are you? I'm on an outside job, visiting CEOPE. I'm already on my way. What's wrong? Come back quickly. Don't go. Don't go. Yang Jingjing looked around, preventing Yang Feng and Li Lingyu from eavesdropping. What's wrong? What happened? Manager Yang introduced this client to you not to help you. That CEOP is known to be extremely difficult and vicious. No one has been able to secure him. Lai Lingyu even offered herself, and he kicked her out, calling her dirty. Manager Yang sent you to embarrass you. Don't fall for it, Lucy sneered. You think I don't know his intentions? From the moment she got the business card, she knew what Yang Feng was up to. Then why did you agree? Yang Jingjing was puzzled. If it were someone else, I wouldn't be familiar. But CEOP, I've dealt with him a lot when I was with CEO Fa. Maybe I can do what you all can't. Lucy smiled slightly. Thank you for your concern. Since I arrived here, they've all been hypocritical. Only you have been willing to help me all the time. I won't forget your kindness. The reason she hadn't closed a deal this week was to familiarize herself with the processes. With P Yaz's deal, she needed to show her true abilities. Did Fu Yuding think throwing her here to suffer would defeat her? Daydreaming. Lucy drove to the Whisper Bar. Even though it was daytime, it was still very lively. Several resident performers, many of whom were minor celebrities, kept it bustling 24 hours a day. P. Yazi was here every Saturday and Sunday from afternoon to evening, usually staying until 9 or 10 at night. Many people wanted to discuss business with him, but wouldn't go to his office, always meeting here. The Whisper Bar had a special private room just for him. No one else had the privilege of entering. Many tried to get in, but CEOP's choice of meeting people was very selective. No one knew his criteria. Before going to the bar, Lucy went somewhere else first and then headed to the bar. Inside, the lights were bright, and the singer was performing enthusiastically, with everyone swaying to the music. Lucy bypassed the crowd and reached P. Yaz's private room. Several business representatives were at the door, begging the assistant, offering gifts and money, trying to curry favor, but the assistant didn't even look at them and rejected them all. Lucy handed a pen and a short letter to the assistant. I'm Lucy. Please tell CEO PE that Lucy wants to see him. The assistant, having heard of Lucy, looked at the letter and the pen and surprisingly didn't refuse, taking them inside the room. Soon, the assistant came out. Secretary Lu, CEO P will see you. Please follow me. Everyone was curious about the pen Lucy gave. They had offered much more valuable gifts, but couldn't get a meeting with P. Yaz. Lucy had no intention of explaining, entering the room. Inside, P. Yazi and 2 men and 3 women were singing, creating a lively atmosphere. A man and a woman were passionately singing Small Dimple. Lucy, in her suit, stood out in the setting. P. Yazi raised his hand slightly, and the 2 singers stopped, waiting for his command. Everyone, leave. The 2 men and 3 women left the room. P. Yaz pushed the microphone forward. Secretary Lu, since you're here, how about singing a song with me to liven things up? Lucy sat down a short distance from him. I'm terrible at singing. Are you sure you want to hear me sing? P. Yasi pushed the microphone towards her. I'm all ears. An idea flashed in Lucy's mind. She picked the song 10 years. At first, she deliberately sang off key, not hitting a single note, making P. Yazi uncomfortable. He wanted to interrupt several times but couldn't. Finally, he couldn't bear it and stopped her. Then Lucy sang properly, every word melodious, surprising P. Yazi. A replacement? Lucy stared at him in astonishment. Naturally, the person he mentioned couldn't be the driver. He came here all fired up with accusations. Could it be that he saw something? Are you talking about P. Yaz? So you're admitting it, right? Are you preparing to become P. Yaz's chief secretary? He emphasized the words chief secretary, making Lucy blush with embarrassment. We are not what you think. I was only meeting him to discuss a real estate deal. A real estate deal? Do you think I'm an idiot? Fu Yuding's face was extremely ugly, showing he didn't believe her at all. Lucy narrowed her eyes slightly. Have you been following me? Mr. Black, are you even stooping to stalking now? Yuding stubbed out his cigarette, pressing it into the ashtray. You think you're worth stalking? Lucy bit her lips tightly. No, I'm not worth it. I did say you were like a father to me, and I would work hard to make money, take care of you in your old age. Before she could finish, Fu Yuding's face turned completely black. Stop! I'm not your father. I don't have a fetish for incest. You should know that even if P. Yazi wants to poach you, it's to pry trade secrets from me. Don't forget, you still have a non-compete agreement. Even if you resign, you can't join a rival company of the Fug Group. Lucy rarely heard him explain so much and couldn't help but laugh out loud. Fu Yuding's face became even more unpleasant. What are you laughing at? You don't seriously think P. Yazi fancies you, do you? Do you know how many women he has? Or are you already so cheap that you're willing to be his mistress? Then, Mr. Black, what do you think my role is in your eyes? Lucy's question rendered Fu Yuding speechless. I told you I met P. Yaz only to discuss a real estate deal. He even promised to come to the sales office tomorrow to sign the purchase agreement. If you don't believe me, you can come and see for yourself. If you continue to be so aggressive, I might think you're jealous. Jealous of you? Have you had too much to drink and not slept it off? Then, Mr. Black, are you here just to remind me about the non-compete agreement and that I can't switch to a rival company? Lucy asked in return. Fu Yuding seized on this excuse. Yes, exactly. I'm here to tell you that you can't date P. Yazi because doing so would leak our company's secrets. Lucy bit her lips hard, almost being driven mad by his words. Rest assured, Mr. Black, You are my benefactor. When I find a boyfriend, I will definitely bring him to meet you for your approval before dating him. How about that? Fu Yuding, in a fit of rage, threw the ashtray into the trash can and stormed out. Lucy made a face at his back. Anyone who didn't know might think he cared. She knew him too well. He was just being possessive. In the past, if any man looked at her too long, he would arrange for that man to be beaten half to death. So, practically no men in the company dared to look at her for more than a second. She once naively thought he was jealous, but later realized it wasn't that at all. Despite their breakup, he still wanted to interfere when she met other men. When Lucy arrived at the sales office in the morning, she found everyone laughing at her. She didn't understand until she returned to her desk. Lai Ling-yu, in high heels, walked over. Sister Lu, how did your meeting with CEOP go? How much commission did you get? Lucy immediately understood. They all thought she had been humiliated by Piyazi. Even she hadn't expected Piyazi to behave as he did. She played along with Lai Ling-yu's words. Probably not much. CEOP is tough to handle. It's not easy to close a deal with him. Li Ling-yu crossed her arms, speaking arrogantly. I thought a former chief secretary would be more impressive. Turns out, you're just average. Can't even close a deal. At this point, a few girls who were close to her gathered around. Exactly. She even asked Sister Ling for selling tips, thinking she could compete. Who does she think she is? COPE is so powerful. How could he be interested in her? Even Sister Ling has visited several times and couldn't manage. She probably didn't even get past the door. Just then, a few girls ran in from outside. Oh my God, guess who I just saw? CEOPI? So many people have invited him, but he never came. Today, he's here. Who's so capable? Li Ling-yu coughed lightly. Naturally, it's me. Others aren't even qualified to meet CEOP, but I've seen him in person. Really? Sister Ling, you're amazing. So many here have tried but couldn't see CEOP. How did you do it? Lai Ling-yu covered her mouth with a laugh. In reality, she hadn't seen Piyazi, only his assistant, who promised that Piyazi would come today to meet her. Of course. Who am I? I'm the sales champion here. Meeting CEOP is no big deal. Saying this, she strutted towards the door. When she saw Piyazi, she tried to take his arm. CEOPI, welcome. Sorry, I didn't greet you sooner.
Before she could finish, Piyazi pushed her away in disgust.
Who do you think you are to touch me? Li Lingyu's smile froze, and she became flustered. CEOP, don't you remember? We agreed to discuss the details of the house today. When did I agree to that? Stop giving yourself airs. I'm here to see Lucy. His words made everyone turn to Lucy. None of them had expected her to be the one to bring Piyaz here. Lai Lingyu's face turned extremely ugly, but she still tried. CEOP, Lucy is new here. She doesn't know much about real estate. I'm the sales champion here. I've sold more houses than all of them combined. I have experience. Let me help you with the process. Piyazi glared coldly at her. Since when do you decide my matters? Lai Lingyu, biting her lips in anger, didn't dare to act up. She had never been so humiliated before. When Lucy approached, Li Lingyu glared at her fiercely, but Lucy wasn't afraid. CEOP, there are a few excellent penthouses that I reserved for you. Let me show you. Piyazi leaned in close to her ear, whispering words that left Lucy utterly shocked. Piyazi leaned close to Lucy's ear and whispered, I can buy 3 units. How are you going to thank me? Lucy was stunned, thinking about Lai Lingyu's unscrupulous methods. Could PEC be aiming for the same thing? Seeing her panicked expression, PEs laughed heartily. Is inviting me to a meal such a difficult request? Why do you look so scared? Lucy relaxed, realizing she had misjudged him. Of course, treating you to a meal is no problem. Whatever PEs you wants to eat, just say the word. As long as it's within my ability, it's not an issue. Then let's proceed with the paperwork. Lucy led him to handle the purchasing procedures. Meanwhile, others were seething with jealousy. 3 large units equated to a 6-figure commission. Lai Lingyu sauntered over to Yang Feng, whining, Yang, how had Lucy managed to secure PEs? Did she sleep with him? Yang Feng twirled her hair. Who knows? PEZ is a tough nut to crack. Lucy meets him once and seals the deal. It's suspicious, right? Their conversation was overheard by Fu Yuding, who had just entered. President Fu, what brings you here? Yang Feng was terrified. She never expected Fu Yuding to show up in such a small place. Fu Yuding's expression was dark. What were you two just saying? Li Lingyu was equally scared, her hands trembling. President Fu, we were just chatting casually, nothing serious. Speak the truth. Fu Yuding's low voice made them even more fearful. Lai Lingyu stammered. Well, Lucy met with PEs yesterday and secured a deal. None of us could even get a meeting with him. So... She couldn't bring herself to finish, but Fu Yuding understood the insinuation. At that moment, Lucy finished the paperwork and walked out with PEs. So, it's settled. Tonight, at Kiyu Paradise, we'll have dinner together. Don't be late, PEs said with a smile. Of course, I'll make the reservation. PEs, after closing such a big deal, treating you to a meal is the least I can do. Before she could finish, Fu Yuding's voice cut in from a distance. PEs? Wants to have dinner? How could he not bring me along? Lucy froze. Even though she had done nothing wrong, seeing Fu Yuding here made her feel guilty, as if she had been caught red-handed. But Fu Yuding didn't even glance at her. His focus was entirely on PEs, as if he was only here for business. Pia Yizzy glanced at Lucy, smirking. President Fu is so concerned about his subordinates' social interactions? With so many employees in Fu Corporation, aren't you exhausted? The two exchanged sharp words, neither willing to back down. Lucy, caught in the middle, didn't understand why Fu Yuding had come here in the first place. Fu Yuding pulled Lucy to his side. PEs, since you're here at our subsidiary, I must extend my hospitality. As my former secretary, Lucy knows the procedures well. How about this? I'll host dinner tonight. Would PEs honor us with your presence? Since President Fu insists, I have no reason to decline. I'll be there, PEs replied, nodding at Lucy before leaving. At this point, Fu Yuding was still holding on to Lucy's arm. President Fu, can you let go now? Lucy struggled. Instead of letting go, Fu Yuding tightened his grip and dragged her out of the sales office. President Fu, slow down. Lucy had to jog to keep up with Fu Yuding's pace, wondering why he was so angry. As soon as they were outside, the entire sales office erupted into gossip about Fu Yuding and Lucy's relationship, with all sorts of speculative versions flying around. Fu Yuding led Lucy to a secluded spot. President Fu, can you let go now? It's not appropriate to be pulling and dragging like this in public. Fu Yuding finally let go of her arm. What's your relationship with PEs? What kind of relationship could we have? He came to buy a house, and I handled the sale. That's all? Is there a problem? Lucy knew his obsession with getting to the bottom of things was acting up again. Just a simple relationship, and he invites you to Kiyu Paradise for dinner? Do you know that place is a couple's restaurant? What next? Heading to the rooms upstairs? Fu Yuding's eyes blazed with anger, as if he wanted to devour her. Lucy hadn't realized the restaurant P.E.'s mentioned was a couple spot. I didn't know. I have no such intentions. He bought 3 units from me. I just wanted to treat him to dinner to show my gratitude. Why would he specifically choose you for the sale? Because I'm competent. I closed a deal others couldn't. Competent, huh? Pho, Yuding sneered. You were competent enough to climb into my bed. Now you're planning to use the same trick on P.E.? Pho Yuding, how dare you insult me like that? Lucy's eyes welled up with tears. She couldn't believe he would reopen such a wound. Even though he had sent her to this place, he still wouldn't let her go. Pho Yuding realized he might have gone too far, but he wasn't about to apologize. It seems that putting you here hasn't made you understand your mistakes. I think you should come back. Before he could finish, Lucy interrupted him. Pho Yuding initially intended to say that it would be safer to keep her under his watch as his secretary. However, before he could finish, Lucy interrupted. President Fu, everything I do is for work. If you don't want to see me, there's no need to constantly appear before me. If I disgust you so much, I've already distanced myself. Why did you come all the way here just to humiliate me? Returning to your side as a secretary is out of the question in this lifetime. Please feel free to leave, President Fu. After speaking, Lucy turned to leave, ignoring Fu Yuding's darkening expression. Fu Yuding grabbed her arm. Did I say you could leave? Suppressing her anger, Lucy took a deep breath. What else do you have to say, President Fu? Fu Yuding took out a jewelry box. I bought this necklace at the auction yesterday. The moment I saw it, I thought it would suit you perfectly. Do you like it? Lucy didn't even glance at it. Only Mrs. Fu deserves your necklace, President Fu. I don't qualify. Mrs. Fu? Fu Yuding suddenly chuckled. Lucy was puzzled. What's so funny? Do you really think I'm getting engaged and that you're jealous? Thinking she was angry out of jealousy changed his mood completely. President Fu, you're overthinking. How could I be jealous? I love sweet, spicy food, but I don't like being jealous. If there's nothing else, I'll get back to work. Lucy pulled her arm free and walked away. Fu Yuding smiled, looked at the necklace in his hand, and silently put it away before leaving. As soon as Lucy returned, Li Lingyu began to mock her loudly, ensuring the entire sales office could hear. Sister Lu, you're really something, handling both President P and President Fu, making them dance in your palm. Your skills are beyond us. Her words were dripping with sarcasm. Yang Jingjing wanted to defend Lucy but was stopped by her. Lucy shook her head and retorted, I've only closed 1 deal. What's so special about that? Sister Lai, your performance is excellent every month, effortlessly handling many men. Your skills must be the best in the sales office. Otherwise, how could you be the top seller every month? Your abilities must be exceptional. Her words made everyone else chuckle. After all, everyone knew how Li Lingyu became the top seller, though no one had said it outright before. Li Lingyu was furious. Lucy, what did you say? Repeat that if you dare. Sister Lai, I'm complimenting you. Why are you getting so upset? In this business, we all rely on our skills. Let me tell you, I've been a CEO's secretary for 5 years. I've seen all kinds of big shots. You better not mess with me or you'll regret it. After saying this confidently, she pulled Yang Jingjing back to her office. Yang Jingjing gave her a thumbs up. Sister Lu, you're amazing! You know, with Yang Feng backing her, Lai Lingyu looks down on everyone here. No one dares to stand up to her. Hearing you shut her up was so satisfying. It's nothing. I just can't stand her attitude. Lucy took out her phone to reserve a table at Kiyu Paradise. Recalling what Fu Yuding said about it being a couple's restaurant, she decided to change the reservation to another place. By the way, be careful. Lai Lingyu is vengeful. After you stood up to her today, she might try to sabotage you. We've all suffered because of her before, Yang Jingjing warned her. Don't worry. My paperwork is almost complete, and the deposit is paid. The final payment is due within a week, so nothing should go wrong. That's good. Lucy endured until the end of the day, then called P. to inform him of the new restaurant location. She explained that Kiyu Paradise was fully booked, so she had to choose another place. P. didn't mind and agreed readily. With the change in venue, Fu Yuding wouldn't likely track her down. Arriving early, Lucy found the restaurant still relatively empty and waited for P.E.'s. She went to the restroom and, upon exiting, unexpectedly ran into an old acquaintance. Well, look who it is. Our famous campus belle, Lucy. It was Xing Wei, her college classmate. His family was Novo Rishi, and he had pursued Lucy several times during university, all of which she had rejected. He even drugged her once, attempting to take advantage of her. Luckily, her good friend Zuo Xiaowai saved her, preventing Xing Wei from succeeding. She had called the police, and Xing Wei should have gone to jail. However, his family intervened, begging her not to press charges and offering her a large sum of money, arguing that it would ruin his life. Initially, she had no intention of agreeing for money. But her stepfather's gambling debts had led to threats of violence. Desperately needing money, her mother cried and begged her, so she agreed to a settlement. After graduating, she never saw him again until now. Lucy tried to ignore him and walk away, but Xing Wei's cronies quickly blocked her path. Our boss is calling you. Didn't you hear? Lucy clenched her lips. Good dogs don't block the way. Xing Wei grabbed her arm. After all these years, your sharp tongue hasn't changed. Too bad you ran into me. I haven't forgotten how you framed me back then. I framed you? Was I the one who drugged you? Lucy forcefully freed herself from his grip. Everyone knew you had a gambling stepfather. You were short on money and targeted me. And you dared to call the police. I didn't charge you with fraud for taking a large sum from my family. If I had actually slept with you, I'd accept it, but I barely touched you. Lucy slapped him hard, enraged by his audacity. Xing Wei, infuriated, snarled, You dare hit me? Do you know whose turf this is? One of his cronies chimed in. This restaurant belongs to our boss. You're asking for trouble here. Ha! Hold her down. I'm going to settle the score right here.